Hello, hello. Welcome to With Wisdom, Embodying Energy, Embracing Seasons. And for this month of June, we have the joy to have Heather here. So, hello first, Sam. Hello,
Hello,
Heather.
nice to see you.
Hello. Nice to
And
be here. Thank you for having me.
yeah, it's a joy for me. I remember we met each other. So just to introduce a little bit how Heather came into my life, we met each other just before or short before we started the somatic coaching. We were together in a breakout room of a workshop of coaches rising. And I
That's
was
right.
so impressed when I started the training with the somatic school that you were in that training also. So it has been a joy to witness you, to be your part of your crew when we were training, and now keeping on the way life unfolds for all of us. So thank you very much,
Mm.
Heather, for being here.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you
I'm
so
very
much.
happy. I'm very happy you're here too because of the connections that we have with the Somatic School, and then kind of like the way that we've connected, all three of us and more have connected and stayed connected after, which I think
Mhm.
is essential for our personal and professional growth.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it really speaks to the nature, I think, of the type of course that we were drawn to, the type of people that got drawn into that course.
Mm.
And yeah, I just find it fascinating that I literally met Gabriella in a breakout room for I don't know how long, and then came into being quite a significant
No.
part of life. It's amazing how small the world is. And yeah, we did
Mhm.
have an amazing cohort, didn't we? And we have really kept in touch, and that's been a real source of support and
Definitely.
ongoing development. So it's been amazing.
Mm. Tell us a little bit more about you, Heather, just before we start
Yeah,
with the first question.
I always find that a really hard question to answer, isn't it? So
Who are
I will do
you?
my best. So I'm Heather Parks. Many things I am. A wife, a mother of four, a somatic coach. I then went on to do a further certification as a therapeutic coach,
Mm.
nervous system education, relational communication, parts work. I've all kind of informed my work and the joy that I call work because it is a real honor, I think, to do this type of work. I've been drawn or fallen into maybe coaching a lot of women in neurodiverse relationships and family systems who typically are carrying a lot of emotional load, maybe lost their way with themselves, no longer feel really connected to their own wants and needs
Mm.
and find that difficult to communicate anyway. And that's been, I think, really because of my own lived experience in a complex family system, where I
Mm.
also really did lose connection with myself and lose sight of my own needs. And so I have really personal experience with that. So yeah, I'd love to do that. It's not the only thing I can do, but I really, really enjoy that work. So
Mm.
yeah, that's me in a
Before,
nutshell.
oh yeah, before we go on any further, one thing that Gabby and I do not know about you, Heather, that you are happy to share with the world.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Oh, what am I happy to share in the world? Oh, I'm happy to share lots of things in the world, but one of the things I think is that my favorite thing, well, my favorite place probably is a lovely campsite in the Dordogne. And whenever I am doing work that requires some kind of feeling, of really getting into that place, I can really
Mm.
imagine that. I can go straight there. And
Mm.
it's beautiful. It has the smell of pine. It has this sound of the river. And when you put your head, when your ears go underwater, all the sound of the stream, over the pebbles sounds like mermaids talking. It's just a
Oh,
wonderful
nice.
place, and it's hot and a nice cold beer on the beach there. So I think that is my favorite place, and my favorite thing to do is scuba diving, and I don't get to do that very often because I don't really like cold water. So it's I don't get to do it very much, but it really feels like flying, and it is incredibly soothing and regulating for my nervous system. And that's also something that I use as a practice, that kind of breathing that I can really slip into if I just imagine myself under the water. weightless and just it's lovely. There you go. You got
Oh,
two for the price of one.
wonderful. And those
Oh,
are like amazing ways, like you could resource yourself, and you don't
Yeah.
have to be in the door and you don't have to be under the water. And
No.
so
It's
many
magic, isn't
times,
it?
but so much of our work, I think all three of us, is when we're working with people, it's like they've kind of lost sight of those ways to be able to resource themselves, sitting in their own homes, in their own spaces, in their own offices. That
mm,
if through
Yes.
the practice clearly that you do in your life, that you can kind of just do that, then there's a way of just pulling on that internal resource.
It's incredible. It is the magic of this work. And of course,
Mm,
it does take some practice because the more you do it, the more easily you can slip into it.
mm,
And so, like many of these things, it is just little and often. It's not efforting or trying or striving. It's not about
mm,
sitting and meditating for hours on end or anything like
mm,
that, but it is about beginning to notice the things that are just around you in your space or in your memory or wherever you want to draw from,
mm,
and just asking what could support my system right now,
mm,
just to experience maybe a little bit more ease or a little bit more of that warmth or a little bit more of excitement, whatever it is that you'd actually like to feel at the moment. I think that's
mm,
something that I think we all kind of want people to become more aware of, that we have more influence on how we feel
mm,
than perhaps the swirling and difficult life and circumstances and other people's dysregulation, whatever it is that's going on around us. We can, create that sort of bubble effect, just to give ourselves the support, and that in turn allows us to meet others where they are
yeah,
in what they're struggling with much more,
mm,
because we're resourcing and supporting ourselves so that we can also support and resource others. Yeah. And we can't just
mm,
keep doing that from nothing. Yeah.
mm.
mm,
It's
mhm,
so essential for anybody who's working with other people in terms of supporting others who are going through periods of stress or stretch or burnout or worse, that
Yeah.
we have to resource ourselves and learn how to do that
Absolutely.
ourselves. Mm. I have here
Mm.
on I just bought this when I was away on holiday recently. It's a little, I'm going to show you because it's so cute. It's a little paper incense. Um, and it's just a tiny, I mean, even like the unwrapping of it. And the
Oh,
words say, deep breath. You could just pull them off. Have a lovely day. All the best, sweet dreams. And you pull off a little strip, just one little strip. And then there's a little metal paper clip. It burns for 5 minutes, but the scent then stays for a really long time.
mm,
And for me, this is like scent is a nice way of me doing that resourcing piece.
yeah.
And it's got the scents of cinnamon cloves, amber, and two other scents I don't know, benzoin, and this is from Japan, rhino. Um, but it smells delicious. And so it's that sort of way, something so simple. If I was working in an office, and obviously in a private office, because you don't want, maybe not everybody would appreciate the smell of incense, but to have that as a scent to just take a breath, because that's it, isn't it? It's just taking a breath.
It's absolutely taking a breath,
Mm,
and scent is so powerful and so evocative. I mentioned
mm.
in my favorite
Or
place,
the
the
pine, the
smell.
pine
Yeah,
leaves.
and
Yeah.
it's the smell in the morning of that damp, that
Mm,
petrichor. I had to look up that word because
mm,
I don't, but
mm.
that lovely smell you get from the damp and the earth,
Yeah.
and that's particularly when you're in a forest or something. And
Mm,
that brings me there as well. And I remember another scent. I've only really once stayed in a really gorgeous hotel, and
mm,
the whole lobby. I remember we arrived in the chaos and the bustle of travel and feeling stressed and anxious, and lots of stressed and anxious people traveling with me, and arriving in this beautiful calm, this scent of lemon. And it
mm,
stayed
mm,
with me into now. If when I only have to put that on, some kind of lemon oil or something, and it just brings back that whole peace, calm,
Mm.
yeah, spaciousness that really felt, it felt very safe after the journey there. And yeah, so scent is a wonderful way of resourcing ourselves and bringing us into presence, but also pulling on some resources from the past maybe as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Love
Love
that.
it. So I'm going to ask the first question today,
Oh,
ever.
questions.
Question. Although we've had a couple of questions already. And you kind of sort of answered a little bit of this, but we maybe want to expand. So what wisdom do you draw on for your work?
Hmm. Yeah, wisdom. I find that really like, am I wise? What wisdom do I draw on? I definitely have to draw on other people's wisdom. So, wisdom, I think one of the things that I really draw on is, no surprise, somatic coaches, the wisdom of the body. Um, I think that they we're often in resistance to our body because the wisdom of the body isn't always comfortable.
Mm.
Mm.
So we're often trying to override it or ignore it or fix it or make it go away or it's not often that we actually just stop and think, what is my body actually trying to tell me?
Mm.
What is the tiredness? What is that tightness? What's the fatigue? What's the agitation or the
Mm.
urgency? All of these sensations, the clenched jaw, the impulse to run or fix or hide or please or disappear, whatever it is, the body has an intelligence that it's trying to communicate. And of course, we keep trying to push it away and get rid of it. So, can we actually begin to develop more tolerance of that discomfort, just very carefully and very slowly, and always with care and a word I tend to use, titration, so that we're not doing too much and not going faster than we can handle. But how can we tap back into that wisdom? What is it trying to tell us?
Mm.
And what is it that our body has had to carry? What's it adapted to? What's it's learned is safe or unsafe? I think it knows the truth often before our mind is ready to say it or even realize it.
Yeah.
And I think definitely for a lot of people I'm working with, they've learnt really become quite skilled at overriding themselves.
Yeah.
And we can say to ourselves, it's not that bad. Other people have it worse. I should be able to cope. Um, Maybe I'm expecting too much of others. But actually, the body might be saying, I'm exhausted. I'm
Mm.
bracing. I don't feel met. I need some space. I can't keep abandoning myself. So I
Mm.
think that wisdom of the body really becomes a doorway back to connecting into our inner knowing, our intuition, into self-trust again. So I think obviously that one is really huge in terms of where I draw a lot of the wisdom through
Mm.
for this. And I think beyond that, it's this sort of underlying, I mean, obviously, as well, there's a lot of professional training that I've done,
Yes.
my own embodied practice and my own lived experience as well,
Mm.
and just endless sort of curiosity, I think. Learning all the time. I learn from my clients. I'm sure I
Mm.
learn more from them than they learn from me. Um, and I think it's about um, understanding that the body often makes sense, yeah. And I want to really draw on the wisdom of compassion as well. I think
Mm.
compassion um is a word that gets bandied around a lot, isn't it? But I think on top of all the adapting and protecting and overriding and all the things that we're doing is a sense of shame that we're doing the very things that once kept us safe and connected and gave us a sense of belonging in all of these things. But then we have whack a load of self-judgment on top of it. And I really believe that compassion is that antidote to the shame. And when we can put down some of that shame, I think there's more space for something else to emerge. So I think that's really important. And all of this needs, like, I don't know, just so much slowing down, So there's so
Mm.
much wisdom in slowing down, in pace, in silence, dare I
Mm.
say, that space that we create so that people can go deep within. Um, and there isn't enough of that. The modern world is so fast and so urgent all the time, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
We're trying to work harder, fix it faster. We're trying to, I don't know, even like nervous system work, which is really a deep core love of mine and part of it. That's become like hacked. It's like
Mm.
regulate faster. You should be able to regulate, but that's not what it's about. That's like missing a lot of the point of it. And yeah, I just think the body really needs a different pace and it needs safety beyond anything else and connection and the contact that you're making with yourself. And it needs curiosity and it needs permission. And all of that needs so much like time and space and holding. And that I
Mm.
think is the beauty of it all. So I've waffled, I know, I'm sure. So the
You
wisdom of
haven't
the
answered.
body, the wisdom of compassion, the wisdom of just slowing down,
Mm.
um, and really the inherent belief that there isn't anything to fix or change or to improve here. It's much more a reversal of reconnecting and
Mhm.
finding our way back. I think it's
Mhm.
something around finding our way back to ourselves after so much, I don't know, we're just
Mm.
pulled in so many different directions and so many kind of things we think we should be able to do or yeah.
Yeah, the shoulds can really take over our lives.
Yeah.
And one of the things that when you were talking about the pace, that our bodies want a different pace, I was thinking how the wider global world is incredibly fast,
Yeah.
with the onset of AI everywhere. Everything is like at the click of a finger, or less than more than quicker than a click of a finger almost sometimes. You
Yeah.
know, suddenly, oh, got all the answers. And so why am I not thinking like that? So you're kind of trying, almost like our bodies are trying to keep up with an unnatural pace that's being set.
Yes.
That is exhausting everybody.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, I think it's only getting faster out there. So I
Mm.
think as many of us who can fly the flag for slowing down, the better,
Mm.
because we can't, that is just encouraging us to think our way out and think our way into safety. And it's leaving the body totally behind. And then we wonder why we're getting symptoms, why we're
Mm.
getting so much resistance, or why it's all feeling so incredibly hard, because our
Mm.
bodies are trying to say, I don't really like this.
Yes.
Actually, do you mind if we do it differently?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then, sorry, I'm talking as well too much, Gabby. So do you interrupt me as well? But that whole, I suppose it's the shoulds again. I should be doing this, and why aren't I doing that? And it's like the kind of the comparisonitis bit that happens, not
Mm.
necessarily consciously, but oh, so and so is doing that, so therefore I must be doing that, and if so and so is
Mm.
doing that, then they must be. So it's this kind of keeping up,
Endless.
keeping up, keeping up, keeping up. Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
it
exhausting
is.
too.
And I think even that kind of I spoke a little bit to it, that shame, that all self-judgment that we have. Even I fell into it recently, actually, like in a case of um my nervous system was really trying to give me quite strong alarm bells and boundaries around something. And uh, in my head, it was like, well, I should be able to regulate. I should be able to regulate. I've done all this nervous system work. I should be able to regulate. And I forgot to, I know what I'd have done if I'd have been a client. I would have been, okay, but I was like, no, I should be able to do this. For goodness sake, I've been practicing this for ages. Why is this like, I should be able to tolerate pretty much anything because I can regulate. And that's totally missing the point. You're like,
Mm.
oh, I just fell into that trap again of thinking that these tools and strategies are all about tolerating more or, yeah, regulating all the time and living life in this kind of like, it's not, is it? It's much more about having that flexibility and capacity to navigate those. Gabriella, you spoke to that life's up and downs when we first came on the call. I think maybe before we started record, life is full of ups and downs and being able to navigate those with a bit of grace and ease. Well, that would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. While listening to you, a phrase came into my mind that I don't remember who said it, but I like it very much because it reflects what you are sharing. That says, "To love is to pay attention,"
Mm.
and I think we what you were sharing. No, we tend to forget the way towards ourselves, but towards the others also, no, and towards the world, and slowing down and smelling the roses, or feeling what we need to feel. It's a way of connecting to love and remembering that we were created from love.
Mm.
Or for me at least, that's a way to see the universe. No, the universe for me, it's a universe of love. But when we try to think our way through that, or force something that the human mind wants to have, and that is unnatural and going against the flow of life, then it's a not loving way towards ourselves, but also towards the people, no? And what you said, it happens to me all the time. In the month of May, I got ill, and then I got angry because I was ill, and then I got scared because I need to do things, and I'm worried. And in my mind, I know it's not it's counterproductive, no. And then
Yeah.
because I was fighting myself, I got even more exhausted, no, until I give it. I cannot like think it through.
Yes.
Mm.
That's the phrase. I'm really hooking on to that. The fact that we fight ourselves so much
Mm.
because we don't feel like we can just surrender to what we're experiencing right this moment. How would it be to just go, well, I'm sick at the moment, I need to rest, and I'm going to
Mm.
surrender right to that. And
Mm.
you know, but yet we are so in a rush to get back on our feet, to carry on, to do the work that we want to do. And it's just we need to keep constant. I think that's why we have to be always in these connections and in these communities, because it's in these conversations where we as practitioners remind ourselves,
Mm.
because we might be really good at holding space and helping and supporting
Mm.
others to do that, but we
Mm.
we just need the reminders, yes, you've got to do it yourself as well.
Yeah,
Mm.
and also to, I mean, the world outside, it calls for that pace and for that kind of like regulate yourself and keep it up and
Fast, 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 fast,
want,
fast. Yeah.
yeah, want everything, and then you tend to forget, and that's why it's so important, these kind of connections that bring you to earth, to ground, and for me that remembers me what is actually for me important in life.
Yeah, for what's
Absolutely.
important, what's kind of rooted for us,
Mm.
and that sense of how to be rather than always trying to get somewhere or be something else or find it somewhere else or whatever it is that we're always striving and trying to
Mm.
Yeah.
do. It's yeah, we need to keep constantly reminding ourselves, that's for sure.
And
Yeah.
being something else. I think that piece around, Gabby's phrase of fight ourselves. In that fight, it's almost like a fight to suppress what we are, which
Mm.
is a human being, not a machine. Um, and like there's a kind of like wanting to be more almost automated when actually, so we can do this and we can do that and we can do that and we can context switch and it's all fine. We've got enough energy to do all of that, but we're actually not made like that. Yeah, that is where definitely my laptop is like that, but I'm not, that's that's a, you know, that's not me.
I don't know. My laptop gets very upset if I've got too many windows open, the 99 tabs that I haven't closed. Even that starts to give me some signals that actually
Okay.
I'm over capacity. Um,
Yes.
so yes, there's those signals that we just are ignoring all the time because we
Mm,
want to just keep going. And I
Mm.
think there's a danger in our work. I think something I feel is really important is that we're not just using practices and tools and what we're learning to kind of continue on that pace of life. It's
yes.
not just, this kind of like, well, I'm fine to do my really incredibly stressful life because I do yoga in the morning or something.
Mm,
It's like a sticking plaster, isn't it? And
yes.
I'm okay because I do meditation or whatever. But it is actually, how can we reorchestrate life so that we don't need so much, so that everything becomes your
Mm,
meditation, or everything becomes mindful, or everything
mm,
becomes, there's just movement more in your day, for example, where we're not having to do, I'm not saying anything bad about any of those things, they're amazing practices, but just being mindful that often we're doing them to achieve
yes.
the continuous driving of the roller, what was it, the conveyor belt of life.
Mm,
Um, and I think, yeah, so they're danger of becoming things that just keep us doing those things.
yes.
Yeah, and I'm feeling and sensing also what you say, that this obsession of optimizing life and
Yeah.
hacking everything, and
Mm,
we can live like through life, uh, having optimized health and optimized brain and optimized whatever, which is natural. And it's a way of manipulating life and not respecting the order of things. No, at least, for example, in the Chinese view, in the Chinese medicine and the Qigong, it's accepting that there's a higher order that knows better than us, and and the work and the journey is more like, how do I pay attention that I learn to live in the flow of this order in my life and in surroundings. But the modern world is like the other way around. Know how I figure it
mm,
out better than than nature, and force it. And I'm
mm,
curious, Heather, because you work with neurodivergence, and I'm very an ignorant on that side. And with all respect, I ask the question, and my perception, it's I wonder, no, it's also a matter of how do we define normal, the norm, no? And at some
mm,
point, I tend to think that, of course, some people more than others, but at the end of the day, we are all neurodiverse in a way, because we must have our very particular ways of life, that our nervous system got the, and our brain got the, like, the connection. So the way I think about things or sense things might not be the same way as you, because I grew up in another country with another condition. So it's I'm always wondering. Yeah, it's always depending, how do you define normality and the norm.
Yeah, and there isn't such a thing. So it's like,
Yeah.
but defining it is beyond definition, I suppose, isn't it? And I think for me, the most important thing in all of it, and it's not necessarily strictly about neurodiversity or
Mm-hmm.
neurodivergence, is beginning to come into some understanding that not everyone is having the same experience as you, even though you
Mm-hmm.
might be going through what looks like similar things, that there can be more than one perspective, more than one truth, more than one experience, that I think a lot of our systems are often wanting understanding as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes when understanding or someone's experience is so far from ours, we can't necessarily really understand, but we
Mm-hmm.
can believe. So if someone's telling us that lights are too bright, that the sound is too much, we don't have to quite understand what that might
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
feels like. We don't
yeah,
necessarily know, but we can certainly believe it, and
yeah.
we can understand that that's their truth, and then we can be in choice about how we can support
Mm-hmm.
with that. And it brings, that element I spoke about of compassion, as opposed to just
Mm-hmm.
frustration or whatever else might come up. Actually, we're not all. experiencing the same things. Our brains aren't interpreting things the same way. Our senses aren't perceiving things the same way. And for me, the nervous system work really helped me with that, because I know that even within a different nervous system state, the way my senses and my perspectives and my thinking and what I'm driven to behave and the stories I'm telling myself and all, they shift depending on that. So actually, if I can have such a dramatically different viewpoint depending on my nervous system state, I can certainly see that someone else can have a massively different experience of whatever it is that they're experiencing. So I think
Mm,
there's just a massive thing like, oh, it's not actually the same for you as it is for me.
mm,
Okay, so this is really hard for you. This isn't something I find hard, or maybe this is something I find hard and you don't find hard.
mm,
How are we going to deal with that then?
Yeah.
mhm,
It
mhm,
becomes, yeah, can we just remove the shame around that and um, remove the right and the wrong and how it
mm,
should be and shouldn't be and all of that kind of binary thinking and
mm,
just think, okay, so you need this and I need this. Let's figure that out.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think that's kind of the basis of it, that most of it makes sense when you figure out what your body, your brain, your nervous systems are doing,
Mhm.
and the experiences that people have had. And no two people have ever had that same experience. No two
Yeah.
siblings growing up in the same home even had the same experience. It's
Mm.
not even identical. You could argue not even identical twins get exactly the same
No, they
experience.
definitely don't. Yeah.
So that we do just have to understand, or we don't have to understand, but we do have to just accept what other people are telling us is their truth sometimes.
Mm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and stay and whilst also staying connected to our own. That's the challenge
Yeah.
Mhm,
sometimes, isn't it? Because actually for some
mhm,
of us, we're like, then we go way over there and go, oh, that's so awful for you. Right, what
mhm,
can I do to fix, change, make that all right for you, and completely abandon ourselves in the process?
mhm,
And
mhm,
that was kind of where I went to when I was like, oh, there's something here that I wasn't aware of, and I've been doing it all
Mm.
wrong. I am a really bad person. I've
Yeah.
ruined everybody's lives. Now I've got to make it all better, and I've got to compensate. And then I was just like lost in all of that. So
mhm,
it's how can we be there and stay connected to our own sense of needs
mhm,
and
mhm,
our
Mm.
own center as well.
mhm,
It's not
mhm,
easy always. It's not
mhm.
easy. And
Definitely.
I just really encourage people. We need support sometimes, it's just,
I
I'd
think
love
it's
people
easier
to
to
know that they
stay.
don't have to figure it all out themselves.
I
Mm,
think it's easier from, I mean, I to speak only from a personal point of view, to stay with, I can be over there and I'm also here when I'm feeling really energized. And
mm,
that's when I'm kind of like really tending to what my body actually physically needs in terms of sleep, rest, eating, and moving. And I think of those four things and focusing on that, then I'm able to kind of be in that, recognize this and stay with me. When
And
any of those are off, then I tend to overcompensate by
Going over
yeah,
almost
there.
like over there. Yeah.
and I could imagine. I mean, at least it's my experience because I got the experience that my sensations, my needs were not important, or that's information I received when I was growing up,
Mm,
and many things I had to argue and contra-argue what I was feeling and feeling validated. So I think not to underestimate the power of having a person or someone in our life or several someones that are a validating presence and a
mm,
compassionate presence that help us to find that center. No, because nowadays, in coming back again to this hacking or optimizing life,
mm.
there's also a tendency to think that we are gonna optimize everything by
By
ourselves.
ourselves. Yeah. That's a
And
sense. Yeah.
sometimes you cannot, like, I mean, you forget.
Mm,
That's why I right now, and through the illness of my son, I started again to go to the psychologist and with my son. And at some point, he didn't need it anymore, but I needed a validation of a grown up because of the way I grew up, I have trouble sometimes to validate my feelings. And that's why one of the reasons I override my system, and to the
Mm,
point that I got burnout and I had all these migraine studying, because I got the information from the outside that whatever I was feeling is to be weak, to not be resilient. And also this term of resilience can be also dangerous
Yes.
yeah.
sometimes, I feel.
Yeah, resilience and there's a message I think about self-reliance that's
Mm-hmm.
really can be dangerous too, that we do think we have to figure it all out by ourselves, and that is the sign of resilience or strength or
Mm,
independence, or as societies we start getting very hung up with those kinds of things. But actually we really need to be able to place our trust elsewhere in a balanced way, don't we? We do need that self-reliance and that self-trust, but we also need to be able to place our trust in others and
mm,
in maybe something even wider than that, like you were speaking to Gabriella, in the universe, in ancestry, or whatever it is. That we can have various different belief systems, but something really deeply supportive about feeling like we belong to something bigger than all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and yeah, really, that really resonated when you said that. It's like, oh yeah, we've been invalidated so often that then we've almost gone the other way, and not we don't lean into others, the support of others very easily, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's a hard. I think there's a balance. Some people go very much like they only trust themselves and they've lost
Mm-hmm.
trust in others, and some people like become overly reliant on other people
on
and have
other
lost
people.
that ability to
Mm-hmm.
trust. And it's how can we find that center again, that balance
Mm. And
of
that's the resilient way
healthy.
for me.
That's
That's
the
what I think
resilience where
resilient.
you know what you can do for yourself. You can
Mm,
meet your own needs and take some self-ownership, and your people. Who do you lean
yeah,
into? What
yeah.
practices, what faith, whatever it is that also can really support you to move in.
Mm,
Yeah.
lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Heather. And now it comes to the second question of our
Oh,
backbone,
okay.
talking about this, how to balance, not being by oneself, being with the others, and thinking of other people's. How is the way you have been living and are living nowadays, contributing to the legacy, if you have ever think about a legacy, or how do you understand legacy, or yeah,
Mm.
so if you want to develop around that.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I think for me, we are only just caretakers, if you like, of some information. And I know sometimes I feel like awful because I've learned so much and drawn from so much that it's all now amalgamated in me, and I can't even like remember who to credit or to whose legacy is it really. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm just like passing it along to somebody else, and it will just keep going like that. um but I think it's really simple for me. It's like, I mean, if I could just reach a person who is in need and support them to remember, um, to come back to themselves, to just reconnect. Um, I don't know. There's just so many people that I've come across. I know I speak particularly because I tend to coach mostly women, but men too. Of years of adapting or managing or trying to smooth things over, hold the peace, whatever it is that you're doing. It's so easy for us to lose connection. And I think if I could just, I would love, I guess I would really, really love for women and everyone really to just live in a world where we don't have to wait till we're in complete burnout before we listen
Mm,
to our bodies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
could we learn the warning signs a bit sooner? Could we learn to reconnect with that wisdom? Um, can we learn to find some more internal safety so that we're not having to strive and find that outside of ourselves?
mm,
And I think for me, obviously, I do have children. And one of the really beautiful things is, like confession time, when I first came across nervous system work, I thought, great, I know how to fix my kids. Uh, and funnily enough, they were quite resistant. And I was like, oh, maybe if I just sort of focus on myself and my own nervous
Yes.
system, and what's really been joyful about that is I'm not saying everything's perfect. It's not, we still have some challenges here. But
Mm,
I start to hear some words coming back at me or things that I've modeled being used.
Mm.
And yeah, I went through a like tricky time earlier this year, and my daughter was like really calm and regulated, and I don't know, just sort of, I just thought, maybe some of this is making a difference.
yes.
Maybe they will have taken on, or maybe I could have undone at least some of the damage of earlier on before I knew any of this stuff. So there's a ripple effect. And then you think if they go out and they then touch other people's lives and they have a ripple effect, and the clients you
Yes.
meet, you may only meet one that you really make a difference to, but maybe they've also got children and their children have meet somebody else and they, it's that. I mean, that's really exciting, isn't it? That you don't have to have a million followers on Instagram or, you know, be massive or any of that, just to make a little bit of your difference from your little
Yeah.
stone in the pond,
Incremental change. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a lovely thought. And I love to, one of my practices around, I know a lot of us might be familiar with kind of inner child work. And that's that concept of you've got to look after your inner child. I'm always like, who's looking after me? So I like to have the concept of an older, wiser version of me as well. And I think that's perhaps, part of that legacy as well is that we are growing and we're already, in some way, we've already done whatever it is that we want to do. So that takes the pressure off a lot. So I don't know, maybe that's something that would support others. I think you just end up wanting to make a bit of a difference, don't you?
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
just a little bit somehow to make a difference to someone somewhere. Don't think I've got anything grander than that.
I
It's,
don't think I
don't
find it
need
interesting
grand.
that we all tend to think that legacy should be something grand,
Mm,
and with this miss or underestimate the impact of you changing many things
mm,
inside yourself, how much it has impacted your relationships or your kids and your
Oh,
clients.
so
It's
much.
huge.
So,
It's
so
already
much.
mm,
huge.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
so much around, especially around, for me, just slowing right down
Mm.
has been massive. And
Mhm,
I know that, and my children have really needed that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because we need to do that here in our family.
Mm.
mm,
We've got a lot of nervous systems going on. There's six of us
mhm,
and a dog. Um,
mhm.
and we need that. We need to be able to listen to that. We need to be able to come back. And I think I want people to know that it's not about always being able to regulate or present some perfect life or achieving things. I don't know. I'm doing this in the normality of, like, I don't know, wrong word, I think, but inside of an ordinary,
Mm-hmm.
mixed, confusing, complicated family of nervous systems, and
Mm,
it's still very real, and I'm still learning, and we're still doing and the practices, and I still just remind myself to just feel my feet on the ground and
yeah.
come into balance. And I think micro, I think it's the realism. Like, how can we support others to find their micro moments throughout the day,
Mm.
which means that their nervous systems are just able to have these sorts of tiny little breaks that mean that we don't overload ourselves, without
Mm,
creating massive change
mm,
or, completely turning people's lives upside down. It's just
Mm.
little, little and often.
mm.
Those are the
Mm.
things, I think.
Oh, I love that. there's something around you were talking when you talk little things. It's like the butterfly effect, isn't it? It's basically that's what we've been talking about. You know, that small flap of a wing can have great change across a vast space.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's the whole ripples, the butterfly effect. There's lots of beautiful metaphors for all of that, isn't there? And but all of it needs us to sort of notice. A lot of all I do when I start with somebody is we need to start learning to notice again. Notice what's happening inside of us in particular.
I'm glad you used that word, notice, because I want to just we're coming towards the end of our conversation, but I pulled out, and I said this before we started recording, I pulled out some cards from my desk today, because they kind of are calling to me. They're called Tending to Endings, and they support personal reflection. And I'm just reading a little bit from here. It says it addresses collective challenges. So in a time of escalating crisis, it's essential we think about how to hospice outdated systems, behaviours and ideas. So it's in those kind of like little micro moments as well that we go, oh, do I really need to be doing that in that way? No. So it's an opportunity to sort of pause and let go. And I wonder whether you'll be happy, everybody.
Oh yes, definitely. I love a card.
You love a card?
I love a card. Yes.
Okay, so Heather, this one's for you.
But I reserve the right to reject it if I don't like it. And then I want
the one you like.
I'm like, yeah, I'll just take the ones I like.
They have a gardening theme to them. Okay. So this one is
if you looked at my garden, that would make you laugh.
This is called the harvest.
Wow.
Okay, you can see the pictures. Lovely. Let's see.
I'll send you the photos after.
Yeah.
A gathering of garden fruits at the peak of abundance. It's a moment for gratitude and sharing as a natural cycle completes. The words for you are ripeness, gathering, extraction, gratitude, and completion. I celebrate the fruits of what has been accomplished.
Actually, that really speaks to me. I'm not going to go into exactly why.
Brilliant.
But yes, yeah, there's a completion that's happened recently and some endings, and yeah, I'm ready to have some ripe fruit. Ready to harvest. Yeah, and to be in gratitude for what was as well. And also to look forward. So yeah, it's exciting. That's beautiful. Are you going to have a card for you guys?
Gabby?
Yeah.
Yes. Gabby's always up for a card. I'm always up for a card too. So I'm just cutting it 3 times. Let's see. The compost.
Oh.
The dying can become fertile soil for life. In the compost, decaying waste becomes nutrient-rich matter, sparking a new cycle of growth. Decomposition, returning, alchemy, enrichment, and regeneration are your words.
Oh,
I love alchemy. Don't you love alchemy?
Alchemy, that word is just amazing. So I return what no longer serves me to make good soil for the future.
That's the perfect thing for describing what I'm going through.
I kind of think so too, and I know what's happening in your life. It's a brilliant card.
Yeah. Can you make a picture afterwards?
Oh yeah, I'll definitely send you a photograph.
I love that return what doesn't serve you, but I like the idea that you're not just chucking it away, you're actually recycling it,
reusing
something. Yeah, I like that. So it's never wasted, right?
Yeah.
So even what hasn't been serving us isn't been a waste. It's now what we're growing out of. Yeah, I really like that.
This is my one. Seed saving.
The
practice of safeguarding the best of today's garden for tomorrow. Each saved seed holds dormant possibility, tenderly preserved for the right moment to thrive again. Legacy, dormancy, potential, transferability, care. I preserve the best of today so that others may benefit in the future.
Wow.
These cards actually were, I'm going to just share that I actually think they actually are very beautiful cards. And they were 3 collaborators came together, Heather Knight, Ali Kingston, and Will Brown. Heather, that's a Heather, another Heather. And they have a kind of a collective creative background, end of life care and gardening. So you know how like different people have come together to create these particular cards. So if maybe we could put a little how to get a pack if anybody's interested in the show notes. So because I do think they're really useful. I use them in coaching with my clients. I use them for myself. And often, you know, when I say with clients, they'll look at them and they'll kind of pick out a card that calls and speaks to them, which is really helpful as well.
It's nice. Yeah, they're really nice ones. Those were all really good, weren't they?
Yeah. And I quite like, we've got the darkness there. And out of the darkness comes something that's light. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for that.
Thanks to you. And before we go, Heather, we will in the show notes, but if you want to mention here, if there's any way to reach out to you for working with you.
Yeah. Absolutely. So by the time you watch this, I might even have my new website live. But there is still one there. Like if you search heatherparks.co.uk, it's in the process of being updated. Very painfully, like laborious process where one day you think good enough, doesn't have to be perfect. Then you look at it the next day and you go, ugh. I also have maybe not quite live yet, community called Roots and Rising. So the details of that are on my website as well. But that's a nervous system informed community for, it is for loosely around neurodiversity space, but actually for anyone who just needs to concentrate on their nervous system, be in a gentle space, being with others who are finding, new ways to steady themselves and come back to center and find that sort of homecoming, a bit of gentle space, really. So that's very nearly live too. Some people in there testing it out. It's very exciting. New stuff.
Out of the old comes the new.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Heather.
Thank you for having me.
We've really enjoyed listening to you sharing your wisdom with us. And I'm going to just check out with everybody. So, Gabby, is there anything you'd like to say before I wrap up?
I'm just grateful that you allow us to know you better and to share this space with you. And thank you very much for being here with us, Heather.
Oh, thank you. It's really a total pleasure. It's really nice to connect.
And hopefully
we can do it in person sometime.
At some point, definitely.
Yeah, soon.
Anything left for you to say, Heather, that you'd like to share with the world?
Just, I guess something around just giving yourself permission. Let's really celebrate giving ourselves permission to feel what we're feeling, to slow down, to stop, to pause, and to ask for support. Yeah, you don't have to do it all alone.
So we're signing off, everybody. Thank you so much, Heather. This is With Wisdom, embodying energy and embracing seasons. If you like this episode, please share, comment. We love to hear comments. And if you share, tell us that you've shared, would be really nice as well. Pass on the word to other people in your community who really need to just have a moment just to pause, because these conversations are just that, a time to pause, a time to consider a different point of view, a different way of being, that will help you be like that butterfly, sending out good vibes into the world. Okay, so bye from me.
Bye-bye.
Bye from me too.
Okay. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye.